Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, Harlequin here, and I have another awesome Dawn of War 2 Retribution game for you. This is going to be a 1 versus 1 between two tip-top players that I hold in the highest respect, and I've really enjoyed watching their games all throughout the beta, and this should be pretty fun here. So, by the way, this replay I grabbed directly from GameReplays.org, which is a fine site indeed if you want to go and download your own replays and watch them. But, of course, if that's too much work for any of you and you just want to sit back and eat some food and have some dinner and watch replays, well, that's what I'm here for. So, let's take a look at this game. This is the two-player map Outer Reaches, and I kind of like the design of this map a little bit here. So this is basically, it's kind of like the ruins of some sort of Space Marine kind of temple kind of place, something like that. Kind of hard to tell exactly. Sort of overgrown in the jungle and whatnot. And so taking advantage of how to design these maps, you can see there are only so many ways to start people off on a square, and I kind of like the way they do this here. So the two players are sort of side by side, both on the same southern part of the map, and the victory points are more to the northern side. So we have one on the left-hand side, one on the right-hand side, and one basically as far away as you can get from either base, all the way up here at the top. And then not too many resources down here in the bottom, so players are not necessarily encouraged that much to go back and forth. Again, if I scroll back and forth, you can see how close these bases are. Just a single power supply here, and pretty much all the other resources are in the northern half of the map here. So pretty much each player gets stuff on their side of the map and then fights over the few in the middle. So we'll have to see how that's going to go. Meanwhile, let's go ahead and take a look at these players. So first off, on the left-hand side, playing today as the Red Orc Commander, we have xHolyHammerx. He is the war boss today. xHolyHammerx, fine player. He has been the top of the ladder throughout the beta and that sort of thing. I haven't been quoting ladder stats too much lately because the game just came out and players are kind of juggling all over the place. So we'll get into that as things settle down a little bit more. But meanwhile, on the right-hand side with a beautiful white and blue paint job, we have the Hive Tyrant Commander being played by Soom. Soom is just a vicious Tyranid player. Once again, he has been on the top of the ladder many times, and so both tip-top players. I'm going to go ahead and get this replay started before I sit here and jibber-jabber for too much longer. So, always interesting to see what people's initial build orders are and what's going to go on here. You can see that Soom is getting a Termagant brood, whereas it looks like xHolyHammerx is just getting the Shooter Boys. Pretty much every Orc player always gets 2 squads of Shooter Boys right off the bat. It's a great idea. Looks like, sorry, Hormagaunts are grabbing that point, and the Hive Tyrant avoiding the victory point for the time being, going straight for the power. It's worth noting that the power nodes are really far away from your base. Your closest power node is like up there, or the one that's directly between both people. Meanwhile, it looks like the Shooter Boys, the first squad of Shooter Boys out there, heading towards the center, right about as the Termagant brood gets there. So Termagant's now just kind of shooting away, kind of defending in the middle. It looks like the Shooter Boys have got some nice cover up here behind this wall. That does look like, I guess that's just yellow cover, maybe some of it's green. Whereas these guys are kind of out in the open, but we'll have to see. Now that there are 2 Shooter Boy squads here, though, you can see that the units start falling off of this squad here. So Termagant brood going to have to retreat on away, and we do have a second Termagant brood out there for Soom. So he definitely knows what he's doing. These guys can be really deadly with their crippling poison, so we'll have to see if any of that comes into play. Meanwhile, it looks like xHolyHammerx is upgrading his first power node here and continuing his trek along the northern side of the map. You can see the war boss here just disregarding all of the scenery. He has no respect for the artist who designed these maps, just kind of crashing through all of this heavy cover here. Who cares? And meanwhile, in the north, we do have the Hormagaunts and the Termagants being backed up here by this Hive Tyrant. So a little bit of an encounter here right now, and very aggressive play going on right now for xHolyHammerx. xHolyHammerx just charging on through, and you can see that the Hive Tyrant in the back is just kind of chasing the rest of these guys, but he is going deep into Tyranid territory right now. You can see that crippling poison is up right now on the War Boss. War Boss has been upgraded to have angry bits right now, so he's activated Now I'm Angry, charging on in there, knocking back those Hormagaunts, and now he's going for the throat. He just wants to take out these little pesky Termagants. One of them has the poison sacks, the other one just finishing the upgrade right now. Hormagaunts being sent scampering home, and it looks like, man, the Orc presence on this side of the map right here is unprecedented. You can see that these Shooter Boys right now doing a little bit of gen bashing perhaps. The Hive Tyrant chasing after the rest of these Slugger Boys, who are in turn chasing after the Termagants, who are in turn chasing after this War Boss. War Boss even getting close enough to the base right now for these Hive nodes to kind of spit away at it. And you can see even producing some Spore Mines right there. Perhaps he is tired of having all of these Orcs in his base and he was hoping to kind of catch some of them retreating. We'll have to see how those Spore Mines get used here, but for the time being, you can see the Orcs pulling out of the top here. Shooter Boy's still picking away at this power node a little bit, but it looks like they're just going to have to retreat as well. So that was pretty aggressive early game there. I think he just pretty much bought some time for his power generators to get online, but both players right now at 2 power generators, so that's fine. Double Termagants now upgraded with their poison sacks, moving on up. And more towards the center. Ooh, Spore Mines coming in. Oh, nothing going to happen there. I thought maybe the Spore Mines would kind of go off on those guys. So anyhow, the Shooter Boys are retreating on home, and it looks like the Hormagaunts are chasing after these Shooter Boys. So Hormagaunts have been upgraded for adrenal glands, making them really vicious. You can see them kind of hopping along, chasing after these guys. But bumping into the War Boss, looks like they don't want to have any part of that, and going to have to retreat on out of there. So let's see. Spore Mines hanging out in the middle. Termagants hanging out in the middle. Everybody looking pretty cool. And let's take a look around here right now. Ooh, we do have some Storm Boys out on the field right now. So definitely, it sounds like he wants to have heavy melee covered so far in this game. So the Shooter Boys, by the way, upgraded with big shooters. That's pretty much always true. Looks like only one squad is upgraded there, though. Firing away right now, putting some light damage into those Spore Mines. Looks like the War Boss here leading the charge, doing what he's best at. And you can see the field is just teeming right now with Tyranid units. We'll have to see what's going to go on there. The Hive Tyrant has been upgraded for extended carapace, which basically will give him the charge ability. We'll have to see if he's going to use that right now. Everybody having charge abilities. Storm Boys charging on it. Oh, man! And speaking of charge ability, there he goes, wrecking right through the scenery. But kind of charges happening on all sides right now. The War Boss getting really intimate right there, right as the Storm Boys jump in on top of them all. I saw crippling poison up on those Storm Boys too, and now he's just kind of dispatching the rest of these Spore Mines with that gigantic chain axe of his. The 2 big guys just kind of slugging away at each other, but honestly, no, they probably are not going to fight for too long. Over here on the right, though, we can see that, oh, that looks brutal. The Slugger Boys have been upgraded to have a burner, and these Storm Boys are on top of the action right now, just charging away. I believe they are using their choppas right now, getting all dirty with all of these Tyranids. You can see the burner really good against buildings. He took out at least one of those generators and is currently decapping the power node. Will he get it down? No, he has to retreat right away with his Storm Boys. You can see these double Termagant brutes firing away at these gentlemen, doing a lot of damage. And oh my god, the Hive Tyrant just charging through all of the retreating troops right there. Oh, that was so brutal. He just charged straight down the line, completely wiped out that Slugger Boy squad and took out an extra model, I believe, from those Storm Boys. Oh, that is brutal. I do like seeing that, though. That is good micro right there. Meanwhile, it looks like the Shooter Boys kind of backing out, realizing that they're a little bit outgunned. Despite the fact that they have a lot of guns amongst them, there are just that many more Termagants and Hormagaunts here chasing after them. Crippling Poison being activated, you can see, really slowing those guys down. Pretty much the best thing you can do when crippling like that is just to retreat. And now, of course, they have to retreat directly through melee on all of these guys. Unfortunately, the Hormagaunts are busy capping the central position here, or they probably could have got a piece of that. More towards the middle, the War Boss here doing his thing. Oh, Crippling Poison up on the War Boss, and you can see he's so angry, but he just can't go anywhere, stomping almost all of his footprints in the same position there. Finally getting out of that Crippling Poison, but just kind of a little too late there. Storm Boys now moving in towards the center, noticing up here on the top that the Hive Tyrant is capping this northern victory point, and we do have a Shooter Boy squad capping some more stuff kind of around the map here. So double Storm Boy squads out right now. xHolyHammer opting to replace his Slugger Boys with the new squad of Storm Boys here. Definitely wants to keep the heavy melee open. And here we have it. They are just kind of charging on in. Nope, he's going to let that go. So the Hormagaunts now heading on out. Storm Boys following the War Boss towards the middle here, and some Shooter Boys hanging out. So it is 2-1 right now. But by the way, note this is just kind of a known bug right now. The red player, the score is reversed, basically, is what I'm trying to say here. So it is 460 for the blue player and 428 for the red player, even though the score is completely backwards at the top of the screen. Just kind of happens randomly. Ouch! And once again, by the way, while I was just jibber-jabbering about the score, we had the exact same thing again. He was just in there beating the hell out of those Shooter Boys. Meanwhile, we had the Ravener Brood and some Crippling Poison up, all that good stuff. Ravener Brood has been upgraded to have the Devourer upgrade. Once again, though, it looks like the War Boss and this double squad of Storm Boys here just gen bashing like crazy. I saw them just take out one generator, and now leaping on into combat, just crashing away on top of all of these guys, and it looks like the Raveners just burrowed right to the same position just to get on out of there. I do believe we had a seismic roar just pop out of that Hive Tyrant. Yes, he has been upgraded with rending talons, which basically makes him even tougher, but it also gives him that roar. You can scream around everybody around him. The Raveners right now are just kind of pursuing this war boss. Man, rapid fire shooting away at that guy. He's taking a bit of damage, going to have to retreat. If these guys can catch up to him, they could definitely crippling poison him. And that's exactly what they do. Crippling poison war boss, barely walking at all. Once again, trying to activate his Now I'm Angry to run away, but it really doesn't help. Once you're crippled, you're pretty crippled anyways. So he just has to retreat. That's pretty much the best move there. And now we have a counterattack just going deep into the Orc territory here. Perhaps even going to destroy some generators here, ruining the power supply here for xHolyHammer. It looks like Soom now getting a little bit of a light flank from xHolyHammer's Shooter Boys just up north here. Putting some fire into the Hive Tyrant, but Hive Tyrants don't care. Hive Tyrants just charge right on in through all of that. And speaking of that, we also have the double Stormboy squads jumping in on top of all the rest of that. So double Stormboy squads right now getting in nice and dirty here, but unfortunately having no luck, getting crippled and then having the Raveners unburrow on top of them. Doing a great job just kind of stalling away, but once again, they are not giving up, just kind of leaping on into combat over and over and over again, trying their best, and now I believe that the Termagants are going to start taking some serious casualties if they're not careful, and there we have it. The Storm Boys are out of there. They retreat, and they just don't want any more of this, and the Spore Mines go off right in front of them. Ew. And it looks like not really doing too much damage there, but that's fine.